onset state is when you set the mute to true. We'll just try it. Set mute true. And you release that in the offset. Where does it say? Note released, right here. I'm curious to see what this does. I'm going to switch back to the regular iPhone because you can see things a lot better and the sound goes up to you guys. So I apologize for the click, but I'm going to unplug the audio. Alright, so let's try running. It might not compile. Filter audio mixer is not in input manager. Interesting. Yes, it is. Oh, no. There we go. So now when I speak, the mute should be applied. This only applies to subsequent notes though. Once I start speaking. Hello. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. No one knows. But I am going to keep talking and see what happens. Right now the blocks are far away from the actual output. Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's what would happen. Does that make sense? So the green guy hits the wall and it starts outputting sound because it outputs on the yeah. This would work with my own voice if I just kept going at it. I can show that right now. Okay, get crowded. Get lots of stuff on the screen. Get lots of stuff on the screen. Keep going. I can set the mute to true. That's pretty much all I can do with my voice. So let's get more stuff on the bottom. Come on, you can do that. You can do it. You can do it. Well, every time you hear it get to the bottom, you hear the j kind of stuttering sound because the mic triggers the output and the output triggers the mute because it goes back into the mic. But if I just hum over the thing while it's going, then you're not going to hear. Oh no, it can't do that. Now when I keep going, you don't hear any sounds, even though there's collisions happening. If I shut up, you hear sounds. Yeah, so that part is working. But the hiccup thing is a side effect. And it's because we didn't implement the, what do you call that? We haven't implemented the other part. This is tricky, no? We also have to implement mute the output while mute the input sometime, and I can't remember when. When do we want to mute the input? If we're outputting a sound. That does sound like they will cancel each other out and we just always have silence, but I don't think that's true. Let's draw a picture. I'm going to save all these pictures just for, so they can be a little memento. New picture is going to be about so this is me. When I say something, it looks like this, and then it goes to silence. It goes like this, goes to silence. And there's the iPhone saying things with its speaker here. And that might look like, you know, that, like that, like that. And I'm just drawing the raw output. When there's collision effects, collisions, it'll make the affected sound. In this case, when we're saying something, we don't want this guy, and our current system handles that. We have input, so we mute the output. So this won't get fed back into the system. More or less. The latency might cause some issue if it's at the edge. I don't know. No, but probably not. Okay. Now, the problem with this is that it means that whenever we have an output going on, we are going to say mute the input. So this area will be muted. So this output being muted, and this is input being muted. And we do this because while this sound is playing, this gets fed back into the mic, and so the computer will think, if we allow this to be taken in, we essentially get this here, right? We get this guy going, and we don't have some way to analyze and realize there's both sounds happening, and there's the human sound, the human input, along with this guy. I mean, in theory, you could write a filter to do something like that, but that's not something I want to do here, and it's actually pretty tricky to get right. So what will happen in this case, we mute the input. Actually, it's all of this. You mute input here, you mute it here. So you don't allow onsets to happen here. But what happens once this shuts off? Yeah, then input is allowed again, and the input will start here. So this will be the actual captured sound for this guy. And this will be muted. But this part of the sound is probably played. And that's okay. I'm not sure how this kind of system will play out. Usually I just have a system that a speaker setup where you can have both input and output going without feedback as long as you pick a reasonable level. But on iPhone it's just not possible. They're right next to each other. So I'm going to try this and see what happens. And I will say, I mean, depending on what you're doing, this kind of system is fine, even though it's restricting things. But for our application, it should be okay, because this is a voice processing app, basically, and we just want to have the guy be able to say something and then listen to it later. And those are mutually exclusive. We don't want both things happening at once. And this is because the iPhone volume is soft enough that we can't, it's not, we can't really use it as a real-time processor. If they plug in headphones, maybe we can supply that kind of thing. But that's also going to feedback pretty hard. Well, I don't know. I do not know yet. We'll see. I am curious about what this turns out to be, though. Because we just want the basic functionality to work. Yeah, the other option, I mean, we're talking about automatic switching of the mutes. You can also have the user just press and hold to record or something. But if you can do something like that automated, why not? Okay. So one thing I can do, I can query the audio mixer for the number of sounds that are there. I'm not sure. Yeah. And I'm getting sleepy. Yeah, so let me just do that. That is going to be just some function like get the count. Get sound count. And yeah, we could worry about, yeah, let's lock everything up, why not? Size T, ret equals place size, lock here, unlock here, turn ret. This is one case which we're very easy to forget this unlock because it looks so similar and creates some really ugly debugging time. Okay, so get sound count is now a method. And there's nothing like that, right? Let's put it on the bottom. And just make the comment. Maybe I should switch the Doxygen comment style. Why not? Get the number of sounds currently in the mixer. Yeah. And then in Input Manager, where is it? Before we even think of analyzing, yeah. When do we want to mute the input? Maybe this is trickier than I thought. Okay, let's look at our graph.